Okay. So in order to be punctual, it's 5 p.m. So let's get started, and the rest of the people will join us in a moment. Okay, so hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Yes, some people are joining. Okay, so welcome. Welcome, everybody. We are so happy to have you here with us today in this As a Copies webinar. So teachers, whether this is your first time joining us or you are already part of our community, thank you for being here. It's a real pleasure. So a quick word about ASOCOPI. So we are Colombia's National Association of English Teachers, and for 60 years we have been building a professional community that supports English educators across the country through research, collaboration, and professional development opportunities. So we have a great session lineup for you today, and this is just one of the many activities that we organize. So as you can see here, we do have some interesting opportunities for all of you. We invite you to follow us on social media. At the end, I will share our social media so you can stay updated and pay attention to our future webinars, our courses, and some of our special events. So part of what we do at ASOCOPI, we have our national and international conference of English teachers. So in a moment, I will tell you a little bit about it. We have some teacher training programs such as this one, for example, the webinars. So we have some workshops, some diploma courses, and something important, we have the 6 that are our special interest groups. And remember that we also have our How Journal. So that is another interesting opportunity that you can take into account. All right, so teachers, talking about our conference. So speaking of events, I will invite you not to miss our annual conference happening this year in Santa Marta. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet fellow educators, share your experiences and grow together as a teaching community. Our conference will go from October the 2nd to October the 4th in Santa Marta. And we have here a special announcement and invitation from our president. So let's check that out. Welcome to Universidad Magdalena.
This year, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. Come join us next October the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. We can't wait to meet you all here in Santa Marta.
Remember that ASOCOPI, it's you, me, and all of us.
Come to celebrate with us.
Okay, so this is an invitation not only from our president, but also from all of us, the board members. We invite you to kindly join us there. And what is going to happen in Santa Marta? Apart from the many concurrent sessions that we will have, we do have some keynote speakers. Our international keynote speakers are Dr. Torreya, we have Dr. Campo, and Dr. Majoral that are joining us from the Philippines, from Mexico, from the United States. And as our national keynote speakers, we have Dr. Abad, Dr. Tejada, and Dr. Nunez. And teachers, we do have amazing topics, and it's going to be a great opportunity to celebrate our 60th anniversary, to build a great network with our fellow teachers. And we have people that come from our editorials, editing houses. It's going to be great, our publishers, so don't miss that out. So now that I see a lot of people here, it will be great if you write where you are joining us from, so we know where everybody in our community comes from. So teachers, today we have a great webinar. So joining us today, we have Professor Maritza Sanabria Huertas, and she is an English teacher educator specialized in foreign language teaching. Now, about Maritza, Professor Maritza, she holds a BA in Spanish and foreign languages and an MA in foreign language teaching, both of them from Universidad Pedagógica Nacional. So, with 15 years of experience, she has taught English at high school levels while leading bilingual education in innovation, designing language policies, and promoting intercultural learning strategies for EFL. So, she focuses on gamification, that is our topic for today, and digital tools to boost engagement and reading comprehension in English classrooms. And I am very, very excited and honored to having Maritza with us today. So, without further ado, Professor Sanabria, the floor is all yours.
Okay, Andrea, thank you very much. So, honest, as I told you before, it's my first webinar. So, I hope that all of you could find this experience relevant for your pedagogical practices. So, welcome, and also thank you for being here. And I said, I hope that today it's going to be an interesting and funny and memorable experience today here in this webinar. So I will begin. So sharing my screen. So let me know if all of you can see this with a thumbs up. It will be awesome to know. Thank you. Okay, Carolina, Andrea, Adriana. All right. Thank you very much. So the idea is that all the resources um, will work perfectly. So, as everybody knows, so the topic of our webinar today is about gamification and digital tools for English teachers, based on my experience as English teacher with a particularly with a high school students. So let's start. I will something about me based on the information given by Andrea. So I'm a Colombian English teacher, an educator with 15 years of experience, a passionate, so I like a lot and I love looking for new trends in technology, the use of gamification in language learning and how this approach it has been important for my practice in the last few years. And also, I focus on boosting the student engagement and the student motivation, particularly in reading comprehension, because so in high school, the levels of stress and that kind of emotions that the students are facing are are try to um, show to them ups and downs. So the idea is try to help in order to boost their motivation and active participation. So based on it, what is the objective or what is my goal at the end of this webinar is that all of you will have the opportunity to bring to your classroom or into your practices some ideas to apply gamification and also some digital tools that, based on my experience, are going to be helpful for you in your English classes. So, in that way, I will start with this quick quote about, which is learning a foreign language must be conceived as an experience to involve students in active learning by increasing their interest and motivation. So for me, teaching English, it's an experience, I said. And when I'm applying some of the tools given by a gamified or gamification approach led that students could be involved in an active learning, in an active experience. And also, my goal at the end is that they could increase their interest and their motivation at the time that they are learning a second or a foreign language. So let's begin with a pretty shorter icebreaker, because that is important to know about what is your conception, or what do you know about gamification. Maybe if some of you have heard before this word, or maybe not, so I would like to know with you, how would you define gamification? For that reason, I would like to share with you a Mentimeter. So I'll try to, okay. Let me know if you can see the screen. So you can see here, join on Menti. And the idea is that you could type at least 3 words this regarding this approach. So how would you define gamification in 3 keywords? So I would like to know your answers about it. I don't know if you can see it to help you to share this on the screen, maybe.
It works perfect.
Ah, okay, thank you, Andrea. That's nice. Awesome. So, however, in case of, I'll try to share the Menti link here. Okay, engagement. So we have some words here. So fun, games, engagement. We are going to wait for more responses about how would you define gamification. Levels, prices, pretty good. Games, didactics, badges, okay, awesome. Badges, engagement, games. So we have 10 responses. So process, pretty good. Gamification, uh, it's considered a process. So when I will give you um, some information about the theory, you are getting to know that implementing gamification is considered a process. Rewards, all right. Commitment, nice. E-tools or e-learning tools for oral practice. Computer, the use of technology. Okay, we are waiting for some other answers about. So based on the keywords that all of us are looking at right now on the screen, some of those keywords are going to be mentioned during my explanation about what is gamification, and also based on the experience that I have been working with my students. So we are today we are going to talking about badges, levels, games, of course, rewards, process, fun, the use of technology as well, prices, and awards in that way, or prizes. So taking into account this, so I let close this to continue with my presentation. So don't forget the words that all of you have just typed. So based on it, uh, for understanding better, oh my goodness. So that is the screen. Okay, better. So what is gamification, or what is understood as gamification? So based on Werbach and Hunter in 2012, gamification is considered the use of game elements and game design techniques in non-game context. So the idea is implementing some of those game elements, for example, the leaderboards, the badges that we are going to know in the next slide. And also gamification is understood like environment in which the learning and also the behavior and the motivation and also the student participation is important. So, in other words, gamification focus is based on how to motivate the students at the same time that they are learning, but how to motivate the students to participate and also to live a kind and memorable experience when they are learning something new. And also based on Ripoll and Puyola in 2024, they mentioned that gamification let students improve their academic performances by fostering their motivation, also aim to have a memorable, as I mentioned, and meaningful learning experience. So that is on the focus that a gamification develops when we are working with this on or in a classroom or in different EFL environments of learning. So based on it, I will mention some of the game elements or some of the game principles that, based on my experience, I have been working with my students. So based on it, I have been working with points to motivate the people to boost their engagement in classes, badges, leaderboards, feedback. The feedback is so important during the process of gamify, because the idea is that the student feel confident when maybe they are making mistakes. That is normal when we are learning something new, but the idea is that the teacher as a guide try to help them to correct and also to let them know what are their goods or what are their bads when they are learning. We have here some tools. Are some of the tools show performance graphs in order to know how is my process of learning, and finally the rewards. Okay, that is important to point out that those game principles not only are for e-learning or technological tools. So when we are talking about gamification, you can gamify your class with physical resources when you are creating something new, not only with technology resources. However, you can, the idea is that based on this approach or on this methodology, you can make of your classes an experience, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. So don't forget this, the use of those game principles. So that is the time to share with you some of those tools, gamified tools, and also share with you some of the experiences that I had with my students. So the biggest question here is gonna be, okay, so why you as a teacher, English teacher, you have taught on gamification? So previously, to share with you your my experience, let you know that when I have been working with high school students, mostly of them in 11th grade, one of the worries maybe, or one of their concerns about when they are in 11th grade is, I have the ICFES test, because as everybody knows is one of the biggest standardized exams in Colombia, previously to access to the university or to the higher education. So when they have when they begin that the last part of their school life, they are feeling stress. So that is one of the first features, or the first the first information that they could give me about that they are feeling stressed about the test, that they some of the classes feeling worried about. So based on that information regarding emotions and motivation levels, I said, okay, for me, the implementation of gamification it's gonna be awesome. So when I could have the opportunity to work on my master thesis, it was the topic to research, and for that reason, I could work on. I could tell right now. I could share with you this experience or those experiences. So the first one is about I am showing you right now how it's gonna be my class, you know? So I try to begin my classes with the first challenge. So my students knows that I never said, okay, the warming up is this one. No. So the keyword that I use with them is, okay, today we have emoji challenge or emoji challenges or cultural knowledge challenges. And when I mention the word challenges, they are ready and said, okay, teacher, tell me what we are going to do and what happened with it. So the first part as a warming up in my classes is implementing the emoji challenges. Actually, those emoji challenges you could find them on YouTube. You are going to find different emoji challenges. I said cultural knowledge, biology, quizzes. The topic you want, you can find on YouTube. So what happened here? When I show them that kind of challenges as a warming up, the idea is that the students guess different words based on emojis, and for each of the answers of the correct or suitable answers given by them, they earn points. So at the end of those experiences, I will show you how, as a teacher, I said, okay, you will have your points. So I have my own system of points that you are going to know slides ahead. So what happened? At the beginning of the class they are ready, so the first step is that they are motivated to know what will happen next in class. So when I'm working with this, at the same time they are working on vocabulary. You know that working on vocabulary is one of the huge elements that they have to work a lot in order to prepare them for the ICFES. So that is important. So at the same time, with the emoji challenges, they are working and increasing in their vocabulary. Based on the game principles or elements from gamification, with the emoji challenges, I could work points for motivation, instant feedback, because when we are working on this emoji challenge, for example, that you can see on the screen, at the end, I could say, okay, if your answer was bad, a bad answer, I could say, okay, the correct answer is this one because. So in that way, the teacher is gonna be the guide and try to find out with the student what is gonna be the correct answer about it. So the feedback is permanent during the process. Challenge, as I mentioned, challenge the students to boost engagement. So at the first part of the class, mostly of the students are motivated to continue with the next step in class. So what happened then? That is other of my experiences here, the World War Games. So with this, I am showing you right now what is one of my e-tools that I use with my students, which is the World a platform, gamified a platform. So in which cases I am using this? So after the challenges, I'll introduce the topic of the class, and during the class, that is a kind of a story that I used to work with them, a kind of a story in order to introduce. And with, I said, World Games. So the students with this tool, they practice grammar and also practice vocabulary, because those games, eh, mostly of them are interactive games. So as you can see on the photographs, what happened? They are every single time motivated. Why? Because at the end of this, I am giving to them points. So when they say, okay, points, okay, teacher, we are working on. And at the end, I said, okay, what did you learn from this exercise today? And they say, came is we learn about that vocabulary category. We have been learning about that grammar topic, so etc. And what happened? Reinforces learning and keeps them motivated. Remember that gamification, the main goal of the gamification is keep or keep students motivated. So when we are working on world games, on taking into account a game elements or game principles, here I am working with points and rewards, leader words. So one of the tools or reports that Word will give at the end of the game is the leaderboards of students. For example, if they are working in teams or if they are working individual, at the end they could access on their phones and they type their names and they could look at the screen what is happening, who is the first, who is the second, and in that way they that kind of experiences or games try to create a competitive environment between all of their students and partners. And the feedback is I said is continuously during the class, during the process, and also not only given by the tool, it's given by the teacher as a guide, because I'm trying to help them during the process every single time. So the World Games, other experience, this experience about was called the Language Championship Challenge. It has become one a huge activity because we were preparing the students for the English Olympics. So the proposal of English Olympics for 11th graders was working with gamify tools, but they were passing through different stages, all in that way to at the end be the winners of this championship, and then based on it they could participate in the school English Olympics. So here I have been used the Educa Play platform, and as you can see on the pictures, with this gamified, we were reinforcing the reading comprehension skills of the students, taking into account, I am trying to repeat this because uh, my objective as a teacher of English is prepare the students for the ICFES test and also prepare them in different skills, but particularly working on reading comprehension. Why? Because it's so important for them to be ready for the ICFES test. So here the students are engaged with different interactive tasks. So as you can see, we have here tiny frog, and based on this, they are giving the correct answers, and based on their answers, they are moving step by step. The game in that way has only 3 lives. So at the end of the lives, they are going to restart the game, but the idea is that at the end they could be the winners. This Educa Play game at the end has the leaderboard and also has some badges that let know to the other classmates who are or who were the winners in this championship. And the idea is with this practice or with this experience, try to transform some of the traditional exercises into an exciting competition. So in that way, we were moving to the computer lab to work on this. So continue with a Kahoot Quest, and is my third tech tool or technological tool, and is the implementation of Kahoot. And as you can see, I gave names to the different activities. Not only say, okay, I'm working with Kahoot, I have the result, and everybody's happy. No, I'm trying to create or think about creative names which invites to the students to be competitive and motivated. So Kahoot Quest, building better cities. that exercise was a current exercise. It had been working with my current 11th grader students, and we were working on something about the sustainable development goals, particularly number 11. And we were working on how they recognize or how they know about the sustainable development goals. So with this interactive, it was an interactive reading comprehension activity. They were in a competition in pairs. So the idea is the pair who was on the top that way receive different points or rewards about their participation. So what happened with this tool, with the implementation of Kahoot in our classes, this tool keeps the students actively engaged. So it's something curious because when there is a new class or the next day or maybe the next week, the students are asking me for, hey teacher, so when we are going to work on Kahoot again, because we love it. Why? Because as you can see, Kahoot particularly has different and a huge game elements. For example, the immediate feedback, the use of badges that you can see in the picture below, the use of badges, rewards, points, because the points are given by me. They could see the performance graphs when I show you the final report and I say, okay, we are getting to know what happened with you, what were your goods and bads, what were your results. And finally, as you can see on the picture too, the leaderboards. For them, it's so exciting when they are looking at the leaderboards because it's a way to say, I won, I am the best, or that kind of things. That and the levels of emotions they are feeling so nice when we are working on or with this tool. Continue with my experience. Other of the tools that I use, that I work with them, is the implementation of quizzes. And in this case, we were working on an activity named a Vibe and Chill Challenge. Challenge for me is the key word in my classes. So through quizzes, taking into account that their gamified features are so interesting to them, are similar to Kahoot. So the students, when we are working on or working with quizzes at the same time, they could work on points, the performance graphs in order to know how is my learning process, the leaderboards, as you can see on the example of the sample picture, to know who is the first, the second, and the third. And this tool gives to you immediate feedback, the budgets, and rewards. So as you can see in the picture below, when they are looking at the report, they could say, okay, I know that I am in the good path. I am in the right path with my learning of my process of learning, and on in other cases in which some students are not good than the others, but in that case, I could say, don't worry, because your process is in that way is just starting. So don't be down, don't get down about it. We are going to continue and we are going to working on your failures to become um, the best student in the class. So I'm trying to motivate them every single time to having a good experience of learning English, you know? So about the points. So as I told you at the beginning of this presentation, I said, okay, you are giving to them every single time points. So I had a strategy taking into account some of the principles of gamification. And my strategy or my point system is named extra point system. So for them, are not only normal points, are extra points. So at the beginning of the term, and it depends, of course, or about how or when we are working on. But mainly, I am showing to them at the end of the term that kind of a scale of points. So, based on the different classes implementing the different tools, um, during those moments, I am giving to them different points, okay? But at the end, they could see based on the points that they had during all learning process, they could say, oh my goodness, I could be insufficient. Maybe my process was low. Maybe I am basic, acceptable, or some of the people because I've had groups of students that at the end of the term say, teacher, I overpass the number of extra points. And I'm so happy because I have been working harder during the class and I'm so proud. So there have been cases in which some students at the beginning of the year say, teacher, I don't like English. I'm not good at English. So why I don't know what is happening. But when they are uh, implementing or when they are living that experience of winning points, they are feeling confident about their processes, their own process. And I say, okay, teacher, I could notice that. I could be a good student in English. Okay, I said, that's very good. That is the idea of that kind of strategies. So as you can see at the beginning of this, share with them some quotes. For example, let's make every moment in class count because every single class, every time is a new experience. And I'll show you right now what are the points or how I present them the points. So it will be a funny and hilarious no because when you are looking at the stamps are particular from preschoolers. However, with 11 graders, for them, it's something new when they are receiving the point represented on a stamp, and that kind of stamps that you can see on those extra point samples, they are feeling important. And I say, oh my goodness, I got a point. That is amazing. How many points today, teacher? Okay, I'm so happy because I had a point. So the idea is that, as I mentioned before, they could feel motivated and they are going to be stimulated every single time. And the representation of it, or in that way, being awarded with some extra points for them is going to be so amazing. And uh, for me, has been an awesome and a mind blowing experience working with them. The question is going to be how, so Maritza, how many times have you been working with extra points? So I have been working with this strategy around 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And nowadays, I could say that this strategy for me is vital in my classes. Well, so the final question is going to be how gamify, because very good. I've shown you different tools, some of the tools that are familiar in classes, but the idea is okay, how to do it. So based on this graphic, so gamified or build up gamification in classes have different steps. So I'm explaining you briefly about what is the process of planning gamified learning experiences. So the first step is identify learners' needs and also their goals. Is important to know about. When I could say getting to know about their needs, for example, in my experience, I know that the biggest need of them is working on ICFES test. On the other hand, other need that they need to work on is reinforcing their reading comprehension, not only for that, for a standardized, maybe for all their life, because reading comprehension is not only for English, reading comprehension involves global knowledge. So when they could work on the implementation of gamification and how the gamification helps them to recognize their process and continue working and understanding better and comprehend better, for them is so grateful. So identify learners needs and goals are amazing. What is the next step? Integrate gamification elements. based on my experience, the gamification elements are a lot, but you could work with badges. The points, for example, the points are not only the points shown on the gamified platform. So based on my system of points, that system of points are considered a gamified tool too, because it's the representation of winning and living the learning process. Next one is the applying in real learning. To gamify, my recommendation, people, is that you try to build up a story during all the learning process. And during that story, they are going to be faced different challenges. For that reason, when I've begun my classes, okay, challenge one, emoji challenge. So in the middle of the class, continue. The second challenge is this one. And at the end, we are going to work on other a gamified platform, for example, Kahoot or something, they are living a process in the classes. So that is going to be interesting. So my recommendation as a professor and as a teacher is if you are going to gamify, try to imagine that you are working on a story with your students. Okay, applying real learning environments, as I mentioned, and the feedback and learning outcomes. So when we are gamifying the feedback, it's important because the idea is let them to the students how good or how bad they are in their processes and how to continue growing up in this. Not only say, okay, you are bad and bye bye. No, on the contrary. So if you are maybe if you are lower in some of the skills, we are going to work on implementing strategies or giving to them different tips to help them to increase um, their learning or maybe different skills, vocabulary, maybe speaking, improving their writing, their reading, etc. So that is the it's a kind of a cyclical moment when you are gamifying. So I am going to recap. So that is important the analysis of the contest, taking into account the needs and goals that you are going to work with your students. The game design, so relevant, the implementation, and also the evaluation. But the evaluation is not only at the end because the feedback is constantly done, sorry. For that reason, the evaluation involves all the process of gamification classes. So, okay. Um, I will make a closure with this code. So when students play, they don't just have fun. Because had fun is when, for example, when we are working on games or game-based learning, because the game-based learning is focused on the implementation of games. But when we are implementing gamification, we are they are having fun, but also they are learning and also they are connecting with other people because, as I said, when they are in competition with their peers, where are in competition with themselves, they are growing, but at the same time, they are learning something new. So, with this, I could say thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you like, that you have learned about my humble experience with gamification because I know that I am giving baby steps because gamification is something bigger and I'm trying to work in my pedagogical practices on this and I hope that you love that you like a lot this presentation. So I could leave here my contact, my emails in case of, and also my Instagram a profile in case that you would like to connect. The idea is create different knowledge networks to continue working on them, learning from you, by the way, and also that you could learn from me something different for in that way for to help you in order to grow up your practices. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Maritza. Okay, it was
Thank
great,
you,
very
Andrea.
interesting. Okay, so I was looking through the chat, and we have a question. Carolina is asking if you have ever used Duolingo for schools.
Okay, I never use Duolingo for schools, but when I am giving tips to my students to increase their vocabulary and also myself, because nowadays I'm working on Duolingo for learning not only English, other languages that I love. I'm trying to give them as a tip. So, hey, if you would like to play and at the same time learn and increase vocabulary, work on Duolingo, and it's a useful tool for working on ICFES, but they are using them as an autonomous work, so work at home. But I didn't have the opportunity to work on Duolingo for schools. I would like to do it, but thank you, Carolina.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if any other teacher has questions. If you want, you can just raise the hand. Okay, Maria Paula, go ahead. ¿Y
Hi,
qué
thank
activity
you
was?
so much. My question is, what's probably the most the most gamified like strategy you've like created, and which one is the ones the students like the most?
Okay, thank you, Maria Paula.
So those are like two questions. Sorry.
Sorry. No, okay, don't worry. Go ahead.
Yeah, those were two. Like, what's been the most like challenging one that you've done, and which one is the like that you're which one is the one that your students like the most?
All right. Thank you, Maria Paula. So, the students, taking into account my experience, the students love, and I mean, uh, taking into account the interest of my current students, they like working on Kahoot. So when they are looking at me at the beginning of the class, say, "Teacher, Kahoot, okay, not today, but I have brought another one." Okay, teacher, but they are fans of Kahoot because the Kahoot has different gamify principles, as I mentioned. The leaderboard, the badges, when they are no aim on them, who is the winner, they say, "Aha, I am the best than you," but in a healthy competition, and they love it. And also, they could on Kahoot, they could personalize their avatars, and it is so funny for them. So they could choose the animal, they could choose the character. Okay, I will give that accessory. We could make like this, and also with quizzes happen the same, because quizzes has I don't know, it's a kind of it's an element that let that from your phone you could make happy faces, or if you are sleepy, so the emotions of them are shown on the screen. And uh, in mostly of the cases they are looking at, say, okay, that is gonna be fun, because I didn't have idea that my partner was sleepy, or my partner was sad, or on the contrary, my partner was so excited about the class. So that is gonna be awesome. And the challenging tool, my goodness, maybe not with those tools, but for me, a challenging tool is that tool that I could create from zero. That I could say, Maria Paula, I am going to create a game, a gamified experience in that way from the beginning. For me, it's gonna be the challenging, because okay, those tools are are every single time with us. But when I will working on something new to help my students, that is gonna be my challenging experience. I hope that could be happen soon. That could happen.
Okay, that's
Thank
Thank you.
you.
great. Thank you, Maria Paula. Thank you. So, Maritza, we have here Carolina is saying that she loves gamification. However, she has seen some critics about this, saying that students just want rewards and learning is in second place. So her question is, have you ever rated your students' levels to see if they are getting better?
Okay. In that way, my biggest resource to know if they are learning or not is when we are working on the middle exams and also in the final term exams. But not only on this, fortunately, I had experience in the last 3 years when I was applying the gamification that the levels and the results, for example, on ICFES, has been increasing yearly. I mean, when I've begun with this strategy yearly, so the results of the ICFES test has been increased. So for me, I could say that the strategy of this approach has been functioning. So I could say this because that is the measure that I have when I get the results of them.
Nice. Thank you. Now, Jenny asks, would you recommend any AI platforms that have helped you with game designs?
Oh my goodness, talking about artificial intelligence, good point. So I could recommend someone. It's different to ChatGPT and different to DeepSeek, and is a tool that is particularly for teachers. So right now I am open this and I will share this right now. And this is a Magic School AI. Magic School is awesome. Why? Because on Magic School, you can see, for example, how to create a vocabulary list, how to create a song generator. When you are creating songs, and if you implement gamified principles, it will be awesome out of this planet. You could create rubrics. You can make or have a conversation with Reina. Reina is the character who is with you and help you in cases. So, for example, as you can see on the right part, there are some of the activities that I could work. So, creative model. Okay, can you help me creating? Um, I mean, a funny or a meaningful activity with my students are I am working with it, obviously in the free version, but at this time I could say that Magic School AI it's a good tool for all of us who are in the process to becoming teachers, but also for the people who are teachers right now. So I will share with you on the chat that is app, this website, Magic School.
Great, thank you. And Adriana is also recommending Nearpod because in Nearpod there are different things.
Okay, that is curious, Andrea, because with Adriana, we were studying together at the university, and it was curious because we have been talking about gamification. She is working on this, and their master thesis was on focus on gamification too. So, Nearpod, I have listened about Nearpod, but I could give the opportunity to work with it. I am working on a certification on Coursera to work on projects based on Nearpod use. So in this way, I promise that I will working on this. So thank you, Adri, for your recommendation.
All those recommendations are
Are
very important.
exactly.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. Okay, well, Maritza, I don't see any other comments. So, teachers, if you have more questions for Maritza, you can contact her in those. Thank you so much. Here you have her contact information. So, in case you want to learn a little bit more about that, that's
No,
great.
so thank you very much for all of you. Really, for me, um, I said it has been my first webinar, and I hope that it could be a lot of them in the future. And thank you so much for opening your minds and open your, open to new experiences. That it's so important. We are learning together, so that is the idea. Thank you very much for your invitation, and I hope
That's
that you
great.
really enjoy it.
Thank you. That's great. And on a closing note, teachers, if you're not a member yet, we invite you to become part of as a copy. So members get exclusive benefits, including discounts, access to resources, and the chance to be more actively involved in the Colombian ELT field. Now, as you can see on screen, as a nonprofit organization, as a copy thrives thanks to the support of people like you. So if you'd like to help us continue offering events like this and others, you can make a donation through our website. And if you're interested in receiving a certificate of attendance for this webinar, that option is also available for a small fee, a small donation. So you can scan the QR code. It will take you directly to the part of donations in our website. And if not, we have there, our website is www.asacopy.org. And please don't forget to follow us on our social media. So we have our Facebook, X, we have Instagram, and all the webinars that we record are uploaded into our YouTube channel. So if you have questions or would like to have a partnership with us or something, there's also our email. And on behalf of Asacopy's Board of Directors, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Maritza.
No, thanks to you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you very much, and see you soon in future
Yeah.
webinars or future events.
And I hope to see all of you in Santa Marta for our conference.
Oh, please.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, everybody. It was great having you here. Goodbye.
Goodbye for all of you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thanks to
Bye.
you.
See you. Thank you. Okay.